What I will do is I'll be clear that there is a good guy and there is a bad guy.
Okay, are these the bad guys you're referring to? Are these the vile villains making your so-called good guys quiver between their sheets at night? Because this is who's being disproportionately targeted. The percentage of the casualty rate represented by civilian human children is one of the highest in modern recorded history. In fact, the only place you can really look to find comparable statistics is by looking at other genocides. And I think that by itself kind of eliminates this good guy narrative.
I would just ask you a very simple moral question. How should Israel have responded?
Legally. That's how, legally and effectively. When a UN member state, a Western-backed and Western-financed state, engages in any conflict of any kind, I expect them to do it within the parameters of international law. Now, this is the part where chuckleheads like to say stuff like, well, there's civilian casualties in all conflicts, and that's just the nature of war. Yeah, that's why it's called a war crime. Now, what do I mean by effectively? Well, the stated intention here is to eliminate Hamas and rescue hostages. And yet, the estimated civilian casualty rate is roughly 80% of all casualties, 70% women and children alone. Given that Hamas are comprised of almost entirely men and mostly adult men, the fact that adult men are only 30% of the casualties kind of makes it seem like that's not really what they're targeting. The Israeli military has 170,000 active personnel and was the 15th most funded military in the world prior to all the additional support they've received from the Western world in the last roughly year and a half. Hamas have an estimated 30,000 active personnel, have been fenced in for a year and a half without access to reinforcements, to ammunition, to food, to water, to electricity, and yet they have not been eliminated. If the Israeli government are really trying to eliminate Hamas, then their method is demonstrably ineffective and highly detrimental to human well-being. Therefore, the method should be halted immediately, by force if necessary, and the people responsible should be held accountable. When it comes to rescuing hostages, out of the 148 hostages who have been safely returned, 135 of them were returned during a ceasefire in a peaceful hostage exchange. Which means if you wanted to rescue hostages, ceasefire is the proven most effective way to do it. This is a demonstrably ineffective way to do it. It is, however, a highly effective way to torment an entire population of people, to eliminate a large portion of them, to turn the rest of them into refugees in order to steal their homeland. What we're looking at here is either record-breakingly gross incompetence to the point where it's indistinguishable from evil, or just deliberately evil.